Social Web TV live from Austin.
Hey, so we're out here at the Hula Hut. Hula Hut is sitting out on beautiful Lake Austin. And John and I and Chris are here along with Josh Ullman from Facebook. Hi, John. And Kalia Hamlin, Identity Woman.
Hi.
And one of the things that has been talked about at South by Southwest, and Josh is talking about later tonight, is sort of this trend of real identity online, and the real identity versus a made-up identity, which like Chris has ran into a few weeks ago with changing his Twitter handle. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So basically what I've realized over time is that as I've talked more on stage and sort of gone out to a wider audience besides just like the Silicon Valley Geek set, is that a lot of people have no freaking clue who I am, and yet in the little brochures or whatever, it'll have my real name, Chris Messina, and yet online I've sort of created this fabricated persona that I've taken on called Factory Joe. So I'm very easily Googleable as Factory Joe, but over time people started calling me Joe. When I go to these conferences, that wasn't my mom's intention. So how do we move from, how do I realize that, or how do I manifest maybe the distinction between the online world and the offline world is actually going away? That what's been historic about having like a dial-up identity on AOL or whatever, where there was a broad distinction between the two things, what was online and what was off, now no longer makes sense, especially as we have more mobile devices, we move to cloud computing, and essentially wherever you go, you need to assert some sort of form of digital identity. And so for me, it's become clear that I need to collapse the distinction and the borders between my digital and my offline personas into being one. And so that's essentially where I'm coming from with this real identity thing, where it's actually becoming a little bit more comfortable for me. And I realize my situation doesn't necessarily translate to everybody, but that I want to actually just be who I am and be that person consistently.
And then, Kalia, you've both been blogging about and then talking about the past few days of how you sort of have this separation between your various facets of your identity and your profiles and different aspects of your life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my approach has been to put things online and have them linked together but not mushed together. So that's an approach where I have an unconference blog and I have my Identity Woman blog, and I'm thinking about some other blogs I might start, but
so
I'm not
you're intentionally fragmented.
I'm consciously dividing up my vast interests into pockets that people feel manageable about. I mean, I don't think all the identity folks want to hear me rant about on conferences all the time, right?
Sure.
And I'm managing that attention, and that's the same issue that I blogged about yesterday with Facebook that I have. It's like, I actually don't want to say the same thing to everybody I'm linked to in Facebook, and I wouldn't be linked to them if I didn't want to be, but I actually don't want to say the same things to all of them.
Whose responsibility is it, though? Like if you just want to publish, right?
Yeah.
You have ideas.
Yeah.
You have an identity, which is all the things that make up your identity. It's multifaceted. Is it up to your friends to then filter out the stuff that's not interesting? Because let's say you provide a level of metadata, like you tag something with unconference, or you tag it with identity, or is it up to you to do that work?
Well, I actually have a plan to integrate, right? So I have Kalia.net. I'm planning on pulling all my blogs together, so if you want to read everything, you can, but it's also divided out. And then I think there's a deeper issue, though, that you were talking about everything being linked to your real name online and how about that philosophical.
Yeah, so I think Facebook has a philosophy here. Let's hear a little bit about it.
Josh has a philosophy.
No, I think Facebook has had a philosophy kind of since the beginning, where when you're building your profile, you're not asked to like enter a username or create a handle at any point in the process. You're asked to enter your real name and upload a real photo and connect with your real friends. And the moment you've done that, you kind of expect that they're, again, representing their real name and their real photo. And there's a lot of ways, in fact, that you can report people who may not be representing themselves authentically. Those actually get reviewed, because we think it's really important that when you're using a service like Facebook and sharing things with people, that it's based on this set of authenticity, trust, and control, and then the ability to control who actually gets your message, what you choose to keep private to the people you've allowed access to, or what you choose to make public to everybody.
And you could argue that Facebook could not exist without having started from this world of genuine identity that was in fact verified in the original case in a university setting.
You mean that it's socially verified, right?
Well, it was originally verified by your actual email address at the college or your alumni email address. And over time, as Facebook has grown, because it started with that core, the social power of the network has kind of continued to help verify it. So when new people come in, there's so many people who are already who they really are. And it's a completely different service than like AOL, where you used to meet like Lazy Boy 123 and Rocker Girl 272, or even Dave 692. And you're like, who is this person? You know, and
I'm constantly asking that question.
But I think too, like, I believe that one of the problems Facebook is solving, and I think two things are being mushed together, is saying real identity is the same as persistent portable identity. And I think one of the things we've needed on the internet to make it a more trustworthy place and a place where people could do transactions across time and space is actually this portability, not necessarily of your real identity linked to your physical body, but the freedom to take handles with you across time and space, and saying like, so there's.
So I mean, I guess if we like back up to a conversation we were having like before we sat down to shoot this video, it was like very clear. Like Clea, you were saying, I want to be able to be identity woman. I don't want to be Clea Hamlin or Clea Young everywhere. Josh, you're saying no. Like I am Josh Elman. Like
if I comment on a blog, if I go write a review of a book or go write a review of a restaurant, I'm the same Josh Elman doing all these things. I think you make a great point that not everybody wants to listen to everything I might do. I just got yelled at. I've been posting about a lot of Facebook things at South by Southwest, and a couple of my friends said, Josh, knock it off. You're my friend. I don't want to hear all you have to say about South by Southwest. And creating the tools to be able to filter those things, I think, is really important. And I want them to be able to filter so I can share everything that I want to share, and if they are interested in certain things or not. But they're connected to me, Josh, no matter where I am or what I'm saying.
So actually, I think there's a broader topic here of internet identity.
Yeah.
And my view is I think Facebook's an incredibly cool vendor in the space that has a philosophy, and their product is aligned with that philosophy. But it's not everything. Like there are things out there for you to do to project yourself online, and there's also a forum to talk about this stuff.
Yes. The Internet Identity Workshop is happening May 18th to 20th in Mountain View, California. It's internetidentityworkshop.com. You can go find out more about it. And it's where we have both these sorts of philosophical conversations, but also all the different folks working on the technologies come together and discuss it. So OpenID and OAuth and data portability and activity streams and information cards, and you can go on and on. But there's a really diverse ecology of people trying to solve these problems that come together. And I want to say one more thing. I think there's also, I run another conference called She's Geeky, and we had a session that was very active about women talking about how they address identity online. And it's a whole conversation that I think needs to be considered when we're talking about these issues. I can't summarize it here, but
a different set of sensitivities.
Yeah.
And this is where privacy and control really matter along with identity. I don't think you can decouple those things at all.
Well, it's really, really hairy when you're on the open web.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for joining us for a spontaneous episode of the Social Web TV live from South by Southwest. Join us for another one on the Social Web